Hi, I'm Jesse. I'm a filmmaker and photographer, and I'm constantly trying to improve my creative practice. Do you want to know what my favorite creativity hack is? It's this. Everyone's trying to sell you something to boost creativity. Self-help books, minimal phones, better stationery, a fountain pen. But like in other areas of life, we like to think the answer is more. Addition. When we should all know by now, it's the exact opposite. One of the most interesting battles in my home is keeping our kids and ourselves off of devices. I tell my kids that greatness lies just beyond the moment they decide not to pick up their phone. I watched a video recently that reframed boredom as our brain's signal that we're complacent and need to level up, to grow. This means boredom isn't the enemy of creativity, it's the gateway. When do your best ideas come? In the shower, while driving, during simple, boring tasks you can do automatically, mindlessly. Your brain drifts in these moments and starts making creative connections. The shower and driving are the last great undistracted frontiers, and we still try our hardest to find ways to let our phones invade. But here's what makes me sad. When I get ideas in the shower, I don't see it as magical. I see it as my creative self dying to be heard, finally getting a moment of quiet. It reminds me of darkroom printing in my room as a teenager. You black out every light, it's dark and quiet. Then you notice light peeking through a corner of a window shade, glow over here, around a door frame. The light wants to get in, and these little sources usually go unnoticed against the bright, noisy lights of our everyday lives. That's what I realized about my own mind. There was often so much ambient noise, I couldn't hear myself think, so I stopped listening to anything on drives to the city. No radio, no podcasts, no aux inputs, just me and my thoughts. I started to think of noise, both audio and visual, radio, TV, especially social media, as literal drugs that suppress boredom. But if boredom is a signal pushing us towards growth, all these distractions, they're just ways to avoid facing ourselves. It's easier to kill the boredom prescriptively than to wonder what it's a symptom of. Your creativity is like those streams of light. It wants in so badly. It'll take what it can get, late at night, in the shower, on drives, but these ideas are quiet. They're easily extinguished by brighter lights. You don't notice them until the Times Square video billboards of social media shut off. I grew up in a fundamentalist household, homeschooled, on a farm. While this was meant to keep me holy, its unintended consequence was making me comfortable with boredom, with my own thoughts. This is where I came up with my first ideas. And now I'm realizing that it wasn't really boredom, it was solitude, which I just kind of think of as conscious, productive boredom. Content boredom. Ironically, there's an old saying, idle hands are the devil's workshop, and now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like it has more to do with suppression than keeping the devil out. Recently, I went on a group trip with some exceptional people who gave me an awful lot to think about. On my way home, I took a solo 3-day stopover. After a 3-hour bus ride, I checked into a hotel in Porto in the off-season and worked, thought, walked, meditated. It was the best thing I've done for myself in years. And my stopover wasn't planned as a creative retreat. I just spent a couple extra days in the region. I unintentionally kind of just stumbled into a great creative tradition. Justin Vernon went up to his dad's hunting cabin during a Wisconsin winter to get away, and ended up emerging 3 months later with Bon Iver's breakthrough album, which is a play on Good Winter in French. Thoreau had Walden, Maya Angelou rented hotel rooms for months, stripped them bare, and used them only for writing, never sleeping in them. The YouTuber Van Neistat has a space. Even I have my cabin. These people wanted physical space to make their artistic intention concrete. But hey, must be nice to own a property and just drop 10, 20, 30K on a backyard bunkie. It doesn't have to be physical. You don't need to rent hotel rooms or build cabins. In fact, unless you're wealthy and can hire out all of the maintenance of this stuff, maintaining these spaces is a pain in the ass. It gets in the way of what I feel I should be doing. God, I hate cutting grass. That group trip I mentioned was walking the last 100 kilometers of the French Way El Camino pilgrimage, a pilgrimage that is walked often alone to sort through a lifetime of inputs and projections and discover who you actually are. I went with a group that stretched me mentally. The walking was secondary. Easy. Because of that trip, I go for a walk most days on a rail trail behind our home. I did 5K this morning. The trail itself requires no upkeep from me. I can just walk and enjoy and think. I never wear headphones, partly because it's dangerous to not hear trucks on hilly back roads, but also to create a totally analog space to think. Your local parks, back roads, cafes, national parks all offer you free space to think and breathe. And it doesn't even have to be scenic. Some days I just go out for a walk along the main road. I don't care about people looking at me and just go get a coffee. My new friend Craig just released a book about this very act, about walking, about taking the time to find out who you are, how you belong. I'm halfway through. It's incredible. I read how going back to their old, toxic environments usually pushes addicts to relapse. Our habits, good or bad, are linked to their environment. A change of space is key. Changing a room in your house, conquering a local park as your offline space. That daily meeting with yourself doesn't just need a time, it needs a place. Keep a blanket, a cheesy Tommy Bahama Costco folding chair with cup holder in your trunk. Strap it to your bike. Find a corner of your world and make it your space. Build or claim your sanctuary that reclaims time for your most important client, your most important boss, yourself. But also, don't let creating the space be a distraction from the task itself. Baby steps. Growing up, we had a rule, no TV while the sun was up. This essentially meant no TV all summer. So I disappeared into the forest, maybe initially to avoid chores, but that was my introduction to constructive, conscious boredom, to solitude. So here's the challenge, our challenge. Let's turn off our phones, or at least build some limits into our lives, and confront that urge to reach towards our pockets when anything in life is stressful. We need to learn to be comfortable with our own company, to accept the person we truly are when there is no one around to perform for. Replace the drug of complacency with something more potent, the high you get from a great idea, from the magic you create when no one's looking. Find what you're happy with, excited by, without external validation, from knowing or at least trying to find your distinct creative place in the world. Trade pacification for inspiration. We all say we miss the freedom and creativity of being a kid. The fun we often remember is a result of the boredom. The boredom we faced when our elders kicked us out of the house. Once you get out of the glare of distractions, you start to see the real light. Everything we have today, this incredible world we have around us, is because of human creativity. But the ones who built it weren't distracted. So start to do amazing things, one scheduled, calendar-blocked hour at a time. And do it while everyone else is staring at their phones. Solitude is the space where magic happens. Imagine what you could do if you gave it more than a shower's worth of your time. If you're interested in hearing me blabber on more about creativity and building a practice around it, subscribe to my newsletter below, where I'll keep you up to date on what I'm up to, as well as let you know when new videos are out. Thanks for watching.